Welcome to Embodied Microdosing, where we explore the miracles that happen when we combine intentional doses of sacred mushrooms with trauma-informed somatic practices. Hi, I'm Rai, and this ministry is on a mission to help you embody healing. Let's answer your questions and call in expansion so you can integrate these highly effective evidence-based tools into your journey. Embodied microdosing is where science and spirituality meet to awaken the healer within. Let's take one conscious breath together. And begin.
Well, hi there. Coming at you from my car today. Hoping the sound quality is halfway decent as I sit here at some random walking trail in Lexington, South Carolina. Got a little bit of time before I pick up my little guy at his homeschool co-op, where he goes 3 days a week and has just a wonderful 4 hours at a time with other kids in his age range, and an amazing teacher getting her PhD in curriculum with her 2 kids there. And it's all outside. So on this beautiful day, celebrating that I'm outside, my son is outside, and that I also get to hop in my car and record an episode for you. Thanks for being here. We're talking about the mess, the messy mess, and kind of how the messiness has to happen before a breakthrough in this work, whether we're talking about microdosing or macrodosing, and I'll touch on both today. But this is where the true healing takes place, when we can really allow ourselves to name and stay with and acknowledge and witness the parts, the behaviors, and the emotions that truly feel like, what the fuck, right? That just feel so maybe unmanageable, so big, so messy, so ugly, so shameful maybe, and really are representative of everything that we were told to clean up in our conditioning and our programming, to put away, to make nice, to contain. Of course, there goes a car. Hopefully that wasn't too distracting. So I want to just kind of normalize the chaos with you here as I experience chaos in my experience here. I'm in the final stages of birthing my book. A friend asked recently online, how's it going with moving towards self-publishing? And I said, it's sort of 9 centimeters, maybe 10 centimeters right now. I don't know. No. It might be crowning. This is for anyone who's ever given birth or understands birth. I think we might be crowning. Or maybe the baby is just in the canal, and it's that if you gave natural childbirth, understand in the movies when they say push, it's time to push, and everyone's yelling at the woman to push, oh my God, nobody had to tell me to push. My body was pushing for me when the baby was pushing on the right parts of me. And there is no breaks right now between contractions, it feels like, and I'm pushing, and it's hard, messy work. So I just want to see you in your messiness, especially as we're experiencing such volatile and unsettling, I don't even want to call it news. It is, but it's just the breakdown of the infrastructure that has been running the world for a long time, and this, frightening for many of us, but confirming if you're in the spiritual world, crumbling of the old as we prepare to and mobilize to build the new world. And so, this shit is a mess. So I just want to see you in whatever you're feeling right now, and whatever mess looks like and feels like for you. This is just always what happens before something meaningful is birthed, y'all. It's inevitable, right? If you're following what's happening in, lunar astrology, that we're just finishing the year of the snake and all of the shedding. And today, in fact, February 17th is marks the new year, the Chinese New Year, and we welcome in the year of the fire horse. And There's just so much energetically that is shifting, but we know that you got to have a transition, right? You got to have crowning, you got to have pain before you get to the beauty of the baby that you are birthing, whatever your baby is, your healing intentions, your, desires for your life path, whatever project you might be pushing through, or just being able to show up more regulated and grounded in this work for yourself, for your family, for your children. That is a meaningful project to be birthing, right? So look, if you've ever worked with a large dose of mushrooms or any psychedelic, like right before the clarity or the message or the connection to God or whatever, shit unravels. I held space for 2 women about 10 days ago for a large dose mushroom journey, and it was absolutely beautiful what they experienced. But both of them went through what is very common and typical of a psychedelic experience. They cried really hard. They grieved. A whole bunch of shit came up. Deep, old, messy shit moving through. So I just want to say that it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful when we can allow this. So you're going to have a smaller version of this, perhaps, if we're talking about microdosing, right? And not macrodosing. But that grief portal had to be moved through with both of these women for them to get to what they got to. Access to the divine feminine, clarity about their path and what's next, feelings of love and connection to their families and themselves. All of that, all of these beautiful gifts that the medicine can give us, it often comes after we move through the darkness and the mess. So stay with yourself. Stay with me here. I'm going to continue to kind of give you this message here. So my book, y'all, I went through such a spiral in I'm in the stage where I'm working with the designer who's laying everything out. The cover, the back cover, the interior, some new illustrations I had contracted to put throughout the book. It's literally coming together, right? And she asks me for my photo for the bio for the back of the book. And I go into this ridiculous spiral for 3 days. Spiral, y'all. I should have gotten new headshots done. My hair is short in this, and now my hair is long. I have hairy armpits. If you know me, you know this. I don't shave my armpit hair anymore. And in the picture, my armpit hair is showing, which I apparently have not had one single problem with. I even have this picture on my website. But as soon as I thought about putting it on the back of my book, I completely panicked. What? If you know me, you know that I'm very unapologetic about my appearance and that I don't shave my armpit hair, but I spiraled into insecurity. I tried to get my husband at 10 p.m. the night before I had to give it to the designer to Photoshop out my armpit hair. And he spent half an hour on it, and I looked at it and I was like, that looks worse. It was just looked like I was dirty, and there was black smudged under my armpit. And he was like, honey, it was so good. I finally said to him, what should I do? What should I do? And he was like, do you have armpit hair? And I was like, yes. And he was like, so this is a picture of you with armpit hair. This is you. And I was like, okay, thank you. I get it. Right. So evidence, something for you to look at if you see me as someone who's just so confident and secure. It's when it gets real, right? So I tried to control, I looped, I needed reassurance, and finally I did. I finally was like, I'm just doing it. Okay. Then I sent the book designer the wrong title for my book. I literally made up a different title. 2 of the words were wrong and switched around. What? I have been writing this book for 3 years. It has always had the same name. Because I was so dysregulated and anxious and insecure about what was happening at this point in the birthing process, I fucked that up. Now, of course, it's fixable, right? And I had to laugh and be like, sorry, that's not the name of my book. And she was like, that's what you sent me. Nothing changed except my nervous system, except my response to what was happening. And I was blowing it up and messing it up, not in a oh, right, get it together way, or in feel shameful for being such a mess. Like, I am seeing it, I'm accepting it, I'm loving the little part of me that's like really wanting everything to be perfect and is messing it up as she desires perfection, right? Do you see me here? Do you see me? I've also been having the most wild dreams. Yes, granted, I'm working with more Blue Lotus and a new Sacrament that I'm about to introduce to the ministry. We're actually beta testing it in a group of 15 people right now, and wow, the dreams. And Amanita muscaria, our secondary mushroom tincture inside the ministry, also has really been bringing more dreams to the surface for me. I actually don't take it too close to bed anymore, because for me, it was like the intensity of this time with the intensity of the dreams. I mean, you guys, it's like the kind of dreams where you're like lost in the subways in New York. If you lived in New York in your 20s, you understand why that would be a frightening thing for me. Dreams where I'm cleaning and I can't get the filth clean, right? Hello. Dreams where I'm screaming uncontrollably, just screaming like, hello, somebody needs some processing, right? And even though I allow myself to feel like screaming, like mouth wide open screaming, not in fear, in like utter like, what the fuck kind of screaming. Okay, so this old wounds are resurfacing for me. Inner child, insecurities coming up, insecurities around money, feeling alone or like nobody understands me, mother wound and father wound coming up for me. And like all of it is part of this mess that I'm talking about here. And then noticing myself, witnessing myself in the abandonment spiral, skipping self-care, scrolling too much, going to bed really late. Like, no, I am birthing a baby right now. Like, there really isn't space to F around. And yet, because those things give me this false sense of regulation or bring me into a place of numbing of that intensity and the overwhelm of life, I'm doing them. Right. And important to note here, I'm not shaming or pressuring myself to stop, but I did just put some screen time limits on social media, and that's been helpful. So this is what dysregulation looks like for me when I'm in the mess. What does it look like for you? If you're feeling the call to microdose but unsure about where to start or to source, the Embodied Microdosing Sacrament Shop is a safe and sacred space for you to explore. Inside, you can find pure, organic, handcrafted tinctures, including our 2 mushrooms, psilocybin and Amanita muscaria, both designed for your healing, grounding, and connection. We also have flower remedies like rose, lavender, holy basil, just perfect to complement your mushroom microdosing practice. All of these liquid remedies are easy to dose, very tasty, and can be taken directly in your mouth or added to your tea or water. If you're curious about how they feel, you can read some of the testimonials inside the shop for inspiration. You can explore all of the offerings at embodiedmicrodosing.com/shop. These are sacred remedies for spiritual self-healers. That's embodiedmicrodosing.com/shop. So let's like zoom out a little bit here. To fully understand psychedelics, because I am microdosing quite a bit right now through all of this, and I know that's part of what's allowing some of this mess to be revealed. You know, when I talk to you about these large dose journeys and that what happens in the macrocosm of working with sacred mushrooms, this, emotional purging that happens, this loosening of structure in the mind, bringing unconscious material to the conscious. That is essentially what psychedelics do. Okay, they dissolve some of the conditioned responses and where we hold ourselves in that default mode of the brain, and they open up new neurology and ahas, and this is why we want them, and this is why they can be tricky to work with, and why I have a 200-page book coming up about how to just work with teeny tiny doses of sacred mushrooms, right? There's a lot to be said here, and if you've been dosing for some time, you understand there's a lot to be said here. So yeah, that unconscious coming to the conscious. And I'm really feeling that right now because I've been daily dosing, not daily, but for the past 28 days, 4 weeks. We had our Embodied Microdosing Challenge inside the ministry. This is offered twice a year. It's a wonderful opportunity to really tighten up your practice and pick one intention and dose with consistency for 4 weeks. It's so good to be able to do it this way, to really create a container for your work. And I chose rose as my daily dosing medicine. Roses, like the flower rose. This is not a psychedelic. This is not psychoactive at all. And this is such a potent medicine. Rose opens the heart. It softens us. It increases the ability to love and connect, to move through grief, which I think is really important for me. And thinking of the thorns of the rose, it also teaches us boundaries and when and where to say no. So the rose has been my teacher for the last 4 weeks, and man, I am feeling her. This heart opening so wide, it almost hurts, but I'm staying with it. This increased capacity for love and connection with my family, that these good, quote unquote, good feelings that we say we want, love, pleasure, joy, gratitude, the ability to receive these things, like it takes some titration if you're not used to them. And if love also represents threat in some ways, to be able to tolerate these better feeling emotions. We know that we gravitate towards what we know. And if you do not know open-hearted, safe family love, that is just like an explosion of that soft appreciation, and also how love has like that grief sort of wound through it, because the terror of losing this person is also underneath that, right? The more I love you, the more it will hurt if/when I lose you, right? That fear, I don't want to say fear, that grief, the way that grief and love are tied together, even in its purest form. And how rose has just been flowing through my body, my consciousness, my psyche, my everything for the last 4 weeks, and how important that has been to really allowing the messiness to be there, that juxtaposition of the softness of the love and the goodness of what's happening, along with the prick of the thorn. I mean, have you ever gotten a rose thorn like right through your finger? Like, that shit is no joke, right? That is a clear boundary. I've also been weaving in the original Sacrament, the psilocybin containing mushrooms, 3 times a week about. I find 4 to 8 drops to be a nice sweet spot dose for me. And this always allows me to feel more and cry more and move more, and discharge that stagnant energy, those incomplete stress responses in the nervous system, in small amounts. And once I do, there's a settling in my system. I really have a high need for emotional expression. And instead of, being annoyed by that, as I have been previously in my life, I really, really welcome that. It's the good crying, it's the waves, it's the sighs, it's the release, it's the prayer that comes with it, and then it's the softening and that full body sigh that happens after it. I'm also still working with Amanita about 2 to 3 times a week, I would say, usually later in the day, although I had a few days where I started with Amanita and Rose combined, especially in the last week, and wow, loving that combination for myself. And Amanita, my prayer with Amanita is help me find my body, help me locate my human self, help me come down out of my head and into my body. And she really does help me stay present. She is a teacher for that. So I'm also working with this phrase, and I introduced it into the membership in a journey earlier in the month. I'm here. I'm here. This is letting your little self know, your frightened self know, your triggered self know, your messy self know, I am here with you. This is the highest self adult part of you staying with you, being that steady presence that we all need and needed in order to develop that sense of safety. You can give yourself that now. There's a true nervous system response that happens in the face of loving presence, non-judgmental presence. So if that is inviting God or the goddess in to anchor you, to see you, to not be in a rush, to hurry up, get in the car, put your shoes on, we're going to be late, right? I'm here. There's nowhere else to be. You are my priority. I bring this in with, my highest self, my true self, my adult self, the self that in those best moments is parenting my 9-year-old and helping him feel that security and reparenting myself in that process. What happens when you hear someone say, someone you trust, I'm here with you. I have nowhere else to be. I see you. I am your full support. I told this story recently in a in-person microdosing and breathwork journey group that I did in someone's living room. It was really beautiful. We were working with this idea of being witnessed and held and seen and supported, our little messy selves. And I talked about how when I was training to be a doula, that's a birth support person, and I was so blessed to be able to attend 13 beautiful births. One of the things that I learned in my training from my teacher was she referenced a study that just completely blew my mind. And in the study, they measured the outcomes for laboring, birthing women in various settings, I believe, having the experience of giving birth. and a typical way, right? Moving through contractions. I'm probably unmedicated. I'm not sure though. Don't quote me on that. And because I was studying natural childbirth approaches for the most part. And one of the variables that they introduced in this study was inviting a woman that the laboring birthing woman did not know into the birthing room, sitting her in the corner and just having her sit and observe. And they told the woman this, they didn't even have communication with each other. It's not like they introduced them or they met ahead of time or, they shook hands or anything like that. The people conducting the study or the doctors or whoever was there with the laboring woman said, she's here, that woman in the corner, she is here to support you. She's just here for you. That's it. And the woman sitting in the chair was instructed to do nothing, say nothing, offer no, like she wasn't hopping up to give her a massage or, tell her you're doing great and wipe her brow. Like none of that. Her entire support was to sit and hold space, literally just to give her loving attention to the woman giving birth. And when they measured the outcomes of the birth, there was a significant jump when the laboring woman knew and felt that unconditional presence and support of the woman in the corner, significant improvement in outcomes of the birth. Like what? Right? I remember being like, no. But what did she do? Right? And it was like, nothing. And it's not nothing. It's not nothing to sit and hold space at all. She gave her undivided attention and care and sat there. And if, any one of us women listening were the woman in the corner, we would be praying for her or sending her good energy or feeling her pain with her, right? Like we would be there with her. And that laboring woman felt that and was able to have a better experience because of that. That makes me want to cry every time I tell it. How beautiful is that? So that witness in the corner who's there for you, whether that's God or your highest self or your partner or a best friend, there is a deep level of regulation that happens when we know we are supported that way. And so we can work with this in our internal space and our self-healing practices. We can work with this. When we are met with that loving intention from ourselves or from another, whether that's calling on your grandmother, calling on your highest self, right? Calling on a spiritual figure, your system, your nervous system can organize into safety. Oh, how cool is that? So knowing that you're not alone inside of the mess, right, shifts the mess, right? Medicine doesn't remove the mess. It teaches us how to stay with it. And that's what my last month of dosing and being very messy with pushing this book out has really brought me into the truth of. This is exactly why I do this work and why I'm teaching this, because microdosing is so much more than just pop it in your mouth and hope for the best, right? Just find the right. I could have had my whole book be about the technical aspects of it too. Here's the different dosing schedules. Here's the different amounts that you can take. Here's the different ways you can set intentions. Like all of those things are in the book and they're all important, but that's not the heart of the book. The heart of the book is that, like, what do you do when you want to cry hysterically because energy is moving? How do you meet yourself in this work, right? How do you optimize what's happening here by showing up differently within yourself for yourself? That's the real medicine of how we heal and work in co-creation with sacred mushrooms. So this is what I'm teaching in the book. This is why I'm passionate about it. How to meet yourself with presence and safety and support. And of course, you know how I feel. It comes through embodiment. It comes through the breath and it comes through spiritual practices, really, which I touch on lightly in the book. My next book about healing trauma is going to get much more in depth into nervous system and spiritual support and the actual how-to of healing trauma with sacred mushrooms. This is much more of a how-to dose in a way that's intentional and supported with breath. But yeah, I'm excited. I keep saying I'm publishing next month. I don't have an exact date yet. All the guides tell me I'm supposed to, but I'm kind of going with it here. But I am finishing up on submitting what I need to submit for the design today as we start the new Lunar New Year. Because I'm living these teachings as I'm sharing them with you. And today feels like a good a day as any to do the work. So, I want to invite you to notice where you might be in a mess. And it might be easy to see the mess, but can you trust that there is a breakthrough coming, that there is clarity coming, that based on how you show up for yourself in this mess, you're going to get more on the other side of it, right? So offer yourself the phrase, I'm here. I'm here. Offer yourself that support. Put your hand on your heart. Call on your support and let yourself know, I am here. I hope this was helpful for you as you're navigating your own mess and the mess of the world and the mess of being a human and the mess of working with psychedelics, and for you to have some hope here. Have hope. I want you to have hope that there is goodness, there is clarity, there is gifts, there are medicines beyond just what we can put in our mouths and buy from a trusted source, that this is much, much deeper than that. And if you're here and you're listening, I know you get that. And I'm going to ask you today to take a breath right here, right now. Place your hand on your heart. Let yourself know, I'm here. And then move forward with that loving, loving presence with you. So proud of you. I love you. Talk more soon.